Welcome to the Hank Cisco Show, ladies and gentlemen. Don't touch that remote. My guest today is a former police officer, but he's a friend from way back when he was a young teenager going to high school, and he'll tell you more about that. He was a police officer in White Marsh to the rank of sergeant, and now he's assistant professor teaching criminal justice at the Montgomery County Community College. And we have a lot to talk about police work yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And we got a lot on the plate. So, my guest from the Montgomery County Community College, tell them who you are.
Hi, well, my name's Steve Schmitz.
Come in, shake hands there. Right.
And
hit it.
And the first thing I'd like everyone to know is I'm a graduate of Norristown Area High School.
Right. Here we are, Norristown High School.
And after my time at Norristown High, I went to Montgomery County Community College. And that was when that campus in Bluebell first opened. Now, I know another graduate of Montgomery County Community College. You and I graduated the same year, 1974, but you started long before I did. You started when the campus was when they were just a couple of classrooms.
Above a shoe store.
Right, right. But when I went out to Montgomery County, I majored in, I picked my major, and it was police science, which became criminal justice. And at the time, the class was full of police officers in uniform. They'd come from work and they'd go back to work. Yeah. And it was
state police
it was police officers and your traditional college kids. So I got the benefit from having the voice of reason and their voices in the class, as well as the theories and the lesson plans that were prepared for us. So I got a good education there. And it really made a difference in my life. I went on into police work with White Marsh Township and spent 25 years there.
Wow.
During part of that time,
department.
Oh, it is.
Oh, yeah.
It really is. During part of that time, I started teaching, and I taught at the police academy, and then started teaching at the college. And I thought, this is for me. I liked it. And so when I retired from police work, because it was good to get off the shift work and the holidays and overnights and all that, I started teaching full-time at the community college. So I've been doing that for more than 10 years. And this semester, they're giving me a semester off from teaching. It's called a sabbatical leave for me to work on a project. And it's a project that's really been important to me for some time because, again, I'm very proud of the work that I did and the education I got at Montgomery County Community College. And so...
And the people you helped.
Well, I believe that too.
Yeah,
and the project is to identify all of the Montgomery County Community College alumni over the past 50 years, because now the college is 50 years old. In fact, this coming September will mark 50 years of teaching classes at the community college. Wow. 50 years since the campus opened. And I get to identify all the people who went to that college and then went out into law enforcement and became police officers in Montgomery County and sometimes even beyond. So I'll get to look for all those folks and find out some who might finish up, because a lot of people, well, like you were, when you went to Montgomery County, you were already a police officer.
Yeah,
you were, in fact, you were in charge of the juvenile division at Norristown Police Department, and so you had to balance your career and your family.
Right, and it was tough.
And going to school. So there are a lot of people out there who might have started or might have 30 credits or 50 credits, and I'm helping them to finish up, because sometimes they could transfer credits from another school or come back and take a few classes and complete their degrees. So that's another part of the project. The third part of the project is to let the community know the benefit of having a well-educated police force, and those benefits are many, because police officers who have not just training, but training and education are better serving the community. And we can talk about some of those ways. In fact, I have a picture that shows some of the ways that everyone benefits by having educated police officers.
Yeah, they say education, training, and experience.
That's right.
Now, if you do something with experience but no education, you did it, but you don't know how you did it.
That's right. You might not do it the next time. Right.
But I would say we're going to talk about yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Okay.
Okay.
I started Norristown Police Officer around 1951, and Chief Riley, who was, I don't know if he graduated high school or not with it, but he had very sincere care about Norristown. every morning he would go to Mass, 6:30 at St. Francis, and then the car would pick him up, and he would patrol the town before he would go in the office. And they give me a gun, a badge, a nightstick, a whistle,
Right.
put me on the street without
Right.
no
So there
education.
was no formal training and certainly no
None.
education, because the idea of educating police officers was new. In fact, it was new in the 1960s. If you remember back there in
Yeah.
the mid-60s and the late 60s, there was a lot of civil unrest.
Oh, yeah.
There were
yeah.
there were protests and sometimes riots. There was the civil rights movement, the anti-war movement, and several others. And we got to see that on TV. And the federal government started to put money into training and equipment and education, and that's where the program at the community college started. So when classes started in 1966, there was just one or two courses, and one was a criminology course, then a criminal law course. But by 1968, there was a criminal justice program, and that was a program because, again, educating police officers so that they could think outside the box.
Right.
So they did more than just follow orders. So they learned how to listen to people, how to talk to people, how to understand what people's needs are, and get along better with them. And that
well,
was
I think way back when there was a racial problem in Chester, and that was the first time. We never had anything like this, you know. And the state police went there. And the state police didn't have that kind of training to deal with people. They were mostly on the highway, this, that, and that, but they didn't have anything to deal with them. And they were, you know, using different techniques and tactics, whatever you want to call it.
yeah. Well, they had the helmets
And they got
shields
criticized
and
by it. So what happened? They had to start training. So they had the state police. They come to City Hall in Norristown and different police departments and train us on when we have hold together and hold, you
To
know,
form a
hold
line
the
and to-
line back, you know, and then if you're going to use a nightstick, don't raise it up like that. Use it like this,
Right.
you know. It was all these techniques.
So crowd control.
Right. And so we were educated, but that was, you know, that was a Band-Aid until they start getting an education in the school, in the
That's
class,
right. Well,
in
the
the
state
college.
police had their police academy, and they would train their cadets,
Right.
and they would become state troopers. And then they started the regional training centers. But at around the same time,
Right.
Montgomery County Community College started training police officers.
Right.
So they started that training back in about 1973, and by 1977, I have a picture of it. There's a police academy class in 1977 where they gave formal training to police officers or people who wanted to become police officers.
Right.
And in that picture, my brother Eric is in that picture. Now, he became a police officer, was hired by Hatfield Township. And
Where?
Hatfield
Oh,
Township.
yeah, Hatfield.
And well, he retired just about 2 years ago as a lieutenant in Hatfield. And next to him in the picture is Mark Toomey. And Mark Toomey, another Hatfield officer, became the police chief there. And now he's retired from Hatfield Police Department. Now Mark is the chief in Upper Providence Township.
How'd he go, what?
So they got the formal training, but then they stayed at the college and became well educated as well. They got their associate's degree from Montgomery County, and most of them, in fact, most of the guys in that picture, went on and got a bachelor's degree. And that was all new because, again, educating police officers, a fairly new idea. Some people were against it. Some people, even today, think that all you need is training and not education. But education helps you think more
Yeah.
creatively. Education helps
I
you,
know,
well,
right.
and it helps you, certainly helps you write reports better and to do a better job in making arrests and things like that. Your arrests are more likely to succeed if you do the paperwork right.
I mean, if you don't, I mean, you can make it a pinch, but if you don't do it legally, you get thrown out. So
Right.
what good is it? You're not doing a good job.
Well, another advantage of training and education is the confidence it gives people to
So
be on the street.
you have police departments are working together. You have the police department working with the district attorney's office together. You know, if they're in doubt, they check it out. Call the DA. Look, I'm going to hit this house. And what all do I need? Make
Right.
sure I got the
that
search
warrant
warrant.
is,
Make sure
is
this
based
everything.
on probable cause, and make sure that all the T's are crossed and I's dotted, for sure.
Right.
And that's one of the things in Montgomery County where it's even more important to be well educated is in Montgomery County, that police officer, that street cop is responsible for the arrest from the collar to the time it goes to the court for the preliminary hearing. In Philadelphia, they make the arrest and give everything else goes to the district attorney's office to file the charges.
That's it.
In some counties, the police officer makes the arrest, but the district attorney represents them. Here in Montgomery County, those police officers handle the cases themselves. So
Right
they've
on.
got to know, the law, they've got to know how to apply the law and how to make a case hold up in court.
And not only that, but you got the training, how to make the arrest, and make sure that, you get all your, just like you say, dot the I's, the T's, and what do you call it?
Yeah,
And then you have to be able to testify in court.
right.
You just can't go in there and the judge asks you a question, and boom.
Right. Well,
and
so
the jury
someone-
looks at you and says, this guy's a wacko. So,
Someone who takes a college curriculum might say, why do I need public speaking? Well, police officers are public spokespersons all the time,
Yeah.
and they have to testify in court. They have to talk to a crowd sometimes and maybe keep people calm. They have to talk to people about when there's an emergency, sometimes when someone in the family's passed away.
but you know
they've gotta-
what? Sometimes you have to use your own techniques.
Well,
I use
that's
my
true.
own techniques. Whenever we had a drunk, you take you were 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, you got a drunk come out, and he's not cooperating with you, and you talk to him and he's not listening,
There's
so
no
I have a
substitute.
technique. I had a technique, and it come out pretty good. I would give them double talk, and when they don't understand what I'm saying, they listen, and I got their attention, and I take them in, and I tell the guy standing there, go, oh, man. Get him up by the plant for turning looking for a card. So guy was carrying over there. Did you? And I go, So you don't know what I'm talking about.
You
see?
got their attention.
So little techniques like
Well,
that.
there's no substitute for street smarts.
They didn't
For
get
the
that
kind
in
of-
college, though.
The kind of social skills that you get from, you said that when you were a bartender and
Oh, yeah.
and when you're an
You know,
officer without
that's another
training.
thing. A police officer, the more people he talks to, the more places he goes, the nursing homes are here to get to know people. I had a good friend of mine, Dean Garofalo. He imitates
sure.
Elvis Presley.
Right.
Well, he was at the Patriotic Sons of America banquet, and he goes to a lot of nursing homes and he sings, dressed like Elvis, and he sings to these people, and they love it, Well, he sang at this banquet. He brought the house down. These people loved it. Even the Boy Scouts that were serving food. So it's just hitting the right tune, hitting the right string, and police can do the same thing. They have to get to know.
Well, that's why I'd like to ask you about when you went to Montgomery County. Now, you were already a police officer. You were
Right.
already in charge of the juvenile division.
I was right. Yeah,
And you went and got your GED so you could go to the college. But why did you do that? Because you had a
Well-
family, you had a career, you had a lot of things to juggle.
well, I had a guy that whispered in my ear, Hank. He says, "Look," he says, "You've got a lot of friends. You're making a lot of friends. You're doing a good job." He says, "But you better prepare yourself, because when you leave this job, just being a police officer is not going to help you move forward. Get an education." I says, "I only got an 8th grade education. That's all I needed." So I took a GED. I failed the first time. I'm back. That's, how many times I come in second, I get knocked down, I get up,
That's what
knocked down,
matters.
get up,
Yeah.
And I took the course. But after 14 years on the police department, I went there to get that education, and I enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy it. I hated school. When I was going to school, that's why I dropped out.
Well, you could teach some of those training courses, and yet when you took classes in English composition, in sociology,
Yeah.
and psychology, how do you think that you benefited from that, and how did you apply that to what you did on the street?
Oh, I don't know. It's just like I'm a former professional fighter,
Right.
and a guy that's a street fighter, all he does is swing. But a boxer that's training, he thinks. You win a fight by thinking, by feinting, left hook, right hook, different punches, and that's what education gives you: when to talk, how to talk,
Well, and it helps you know your opponent.
and right. I know something about the opponent, so I don't go in and swing. You never slug with a bum, because a bum will knock you out. You got to pick your shots. You get your education. You know what you're going to do. No problem.
Yeah, so then
No
when you went to court and you came up against an attorney who knows the law a lot better than any
Right.
of us do, you were able to hold your own. You were able to
Oh yeah, that was
cite
another
the
thing.
case law.
You get a sharp lawyer that starts hitting you with questions, and then we were taught a couple things too to counteract shaky lawyer. He would ask a big long question that you would get confused for the answer, and you would say, "Will you please repeat that?" And they can't repeat it. because they were just throwing a lot of words out there to confuse you.
So being able to think on your feet, being able to change the course of action if something's not working, so that flexibility that you get, it's really helped by higher education. Some of the critical thinking skills that are developed, some of the confidence that you get from in your ability to perform, and that's what the research shows. And I have a graphic that shows some of the advantages of having well-educated police officers. And there are a lot of benefits, because officers with an education relate better to the community. They certainly write better reports so that they can explain themselves better and why they used a certain level of force or type of force. They have more effective performance as far as their satisfaction surveys from the citizens, fewer complaints from the citizens. They're more likely to make arrests than officers who don't have an education because they have confidence. They know the law. They know they can write a criminal complaint or get a search warrant and have it worded in a way that a judge has no problem in putting that stamp on and sending the officer out to do the job.
All right.
They use discretion more wisely because it gives them, they can think of more options, different ways to handle a situation rather than just the way they were trained by the book in the police academy. So it gives them the ability to adjust to the changing situations, and situations certainly are changing. Technology is changing all the time. You know, now I wouldn't want to be a cop today with somebody pointing a camera phone at you all the time. But if officers know the law and know that the citizen has the right to do that when they have that right, well, officers are less likely to be rattled or make the wrong decision.
Well, I think one thing that education learned, and I learned a lot when I went to community college. I mean, the perfect example, I think, would be the O.J. Simpson case. Here's a case. The first police officer on the scene of a crime is the most important person to preserve the evidence.
Right.
Now, what happened? They went in there walking on the blood, this, that, and now 10 years, 15 years later, they find the knife was buried in right there near there.
Well, and learning from our mistakes is really an important part of training and certainly an important part of education. And that leadership to make sure that those mistakes aren't replicated.
Never should have lost that case.
One of the things I found in my research so far during my sabbatical leave, again, looking through the records of all the police departments, one thing I found that at this very moment, in Montgomery County, there are 22 police chiefs who are alumni of the community college. And I have a picture of a map of the county, and there are red circles on the map, and every red circle, all 22, are jurisdictions, municipalities in Montgomery County where a Montgomery County Community College educated police officer is in charge as chief or superintendent. There are 4 or 5 circles outside the county. Some of our chiefs, I think you remember Don Bowers, he was a local Norristown fellow, Norristown High School graduate as well. He's the chief out in New Holland. Eileen Baer, who I worked with at White Marsh, she became the county sheriff, and now she's the vice president of public safety at Drexel University. Another chief up in Quakertown, Scott McElry, and another chief down in Delaware County.
That?
Chiefs everywhere. And if you go back to look at some of the other departments that had chiefs who were Montgomery County alumni who are now retired, it's almost the whole county is blanketed with those circles. So it's
when
pretty
I went
interesting
there,
to see.
First it was on Flacco's shoe store in Conshohocken.
Right, in the old Conshohocken High School as well.
And when we parked our car, we had to walk on wood because it was all mud.
The same when the campus was built
back
in 72 or 74.
Chief Jaimo, whose father was a sergeant in Lower Merion, and his son now is chief of police in Tredyffrin Township. He was here. So I asked him if he didn't go to community college. He went someplace else.
Well, the chief at Upper Merion, the chief at Lower Merion, the chief of Springfield, the chief of Lower Moreland. There are chiefs all over the county, even out on the western end, Lower Pottsgrove, Upper Pottsgrove, Upper Hanover.
And we used, and one thing, and because a lot of, when we first went there, we learned a lot from the police. In between the breaks, and then later we would go have a beer and beef and beer or something, and we would pick up more education, talking to each other.
Yeah, that's right.
Because we didn't have the education, so we were willing to learn, And then even when we left the classroom, now I remember one professor who was hard of hearing. He was great. Everybody liked him, but there was one guy in the classroom. He was a wise guy, you know. There's always somebody in the class, and he was talking about it. So finally this other guy was the same department. He grabbed him and said, "Look, you shut up. We come here for 2 hours. I come here to learn. I don't want to listen to you."
Good.
But you know, there's the things within the class.
But that classroom environment, because you get exposed to that diversity. You got people from all around the county. You get men and women in the class together, people of different cultures and backgrounds.
I learned a lot from other police. And then you take like a police officer from up Green Lane or something, and he don't have the experience that we have in Norristown, where we have diversity. We have Mexicans, Afro-Americans, got Italians, got Irish, it's a whole different ballgame. Up there, I mean, everybody's all the same. They're all farmers or whatever.
Well, they might have experiences there that you've never had either. I remember in White Marsh riding up Ridge Pike.
They wouldn't know how to handle it. They wouldn't know how to handle it, you know.
I was driving up Ridge Pike, and a big black bull ran across the road. It got out of the butcher shop and ran across the highway, and we had to corral it. So you never know what kind of experiences you're going to have in law enforcement, and how you solve them really depends on what tools you have and what you said, education, training, and experience.
And one without the other don't work.
No, they all work together.
So, all right, now tell me what's on the front burner. What are some of the things you'd like to see? You're 25 years with the police department, another 10 years here teaching at the college.
Well,
what are some things that you'd like to see happen, some of the things that are happening, and this program that you got?
Well, a lot of police departments now require that training up front. They want people to have that training before they're even hired.
Well, that's something new to the state now. You have to get that so much training before you become a policeman.
On the street.
What do they call that? That's
Act 120, the mandatory training for police officers, and that's a good idea. But but I don't like to see the education standards raised right away. In other words, I still like to see that guy come on with the GED or the high school diploma. A lot of people have associate's degrees, bachelor's degrees, even master's degrees already, and that's fine. But I like to see the bar kept low. But I think that within a year or two of hiring, someone should be in a program where they're going toward that degree. I'd like to see all police officers, by about their second or third year on the job, have at least the 60 credits, at least an associate's degree, and then move up, especially if they're interested in detective work or leadership positions. So that's one of my goals, is to see if I can get people to complete their associate's degrees. And also the next generation. I'm really glad I get to teach, because in the classrooms now, I get the next generation of criminal justice professionals.
Are you getting the full
police officers
now? Are you getting?
Oh yeah, yeah. My classes are 32.
There was a rumor out that because policemen are getting shot, you know, that police don't want to become police officers.
Our enrollment's down a little bit, but our enrollment's down for a lot of reasons. The economy's improved. The high schools aren't. There are fewer graduates, high school graduates, so we're going to get fewer people that way. And certainly things like Ferguson and Staten Island and Freddie Hill case, those are going to make it less popular. Some high school kids less likely to say to his buddies, I want to go into law enforcement. But we get a lot of people who come into our criminal justice program who want to be juvenile probation officers or FBI agents. And so we bring them all in, and I get to help develop their skills and let them see that there are opportunities for them in our criminal justice system, because it's a big system. It's not just street cops, it's the whole gamut of probation and parole and prevention and what's done in the schools. And so I get to be part of that. So I'm proud of that. And I think that one thing that we could really help with is to encourage people to go into the criminal justice field.
All right, that's one thing. How about opportunities for women?
Oh, there are plenty.
Unbelievable. Today we got women chiefs of police.
Right.
District attorneys,
right.
Judges.
That was fairly, even when I came on, it was fairly uncommon. It
was, Judge Newman, Sandra Newman was the first assistant district attorney. You know, and now it's loaded with women.
One of the valuable things about a community college education, not just Montgomery County, any community colleges, they bring people in from the profession. So some of the professors, some of the teachers, they go back to work on the street. They go back to their police departments. They go back to the district attorney's office. And now, in Montgomery County, in addition to all those police chiefs who serve the county, one of the common police court judges is a graduate of the college. The director of Montgomery County's public safety department, another alumnus of the college.
What's it, Sullivan?
Mr. Sullivan, yes, Tom Sullivan. And all graduates of the college. So the college has had an impact that spreads deep and far. And a way we can improve that is through the legacy. And one of the things I want to talk about, the fourth tenet of my project, is about scholarships. Because a lot of the people I talk to, whether it's a police department, the police association, or the police chiefs, or individuals or groups, can sponsor scholarships at the college. We have the Montgomery County Community College Foundation, and already there are 4 scholarships, 2 that are for police academy cadets that help them further their training. Another 2, if you remember John McGowan, chief of East Norton.
Oh, yeah.
He died tragically a few years ago. His
Great
family started to sponsor a scholarship so that a police cadet could complete their training. Professor Carroll, if you remember him from the community college, Jim Carroll, retired
West
from
Norton,
the FBI.
Or no, Lower Providence.
Well, he was an FBI agent, retired and started teaching at the college. His family.
He's a judge.
Well, no, he's passed on, but his family started a scholarship.
Who's
And
that?
Jim Carroll. Oh, you're talking about Bud Carroll from
Oh,
Lower
Bud
Providence.
Carroll.
Yeah.
Okay. all
Okay.
right,
Well, he's
okay,
retired and he's
yeah.
working over at the courthouse for a judge right now. But the Montgomery County
All right, we
Community
got
College
30
Foundation
seconds. Hit it.
is a place where people, your listeners, could think of either sponsoring a scholarship, maybe to send a Norristown High School student to a college for criminal justice, or contribute to an existing scholarship. And it's a way to promote their legacy, and so that the next generation has a solid footing and can stay in school to get the education, to get the career, and to do a good job for the community.
Okay. All right. Our 30 seconds? No, 30 minutes.
It went fast.
All right. I just want to close my show with one little thing about freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is not go into a rally of 25,000 people and curse and raise and cause problems, and you get whacked. You may get whacked. So, freedom of speech. You don't walk into a movie theater and holler fire. That's not freedom of speech. So, if you look for trouble, you're going to get it. You walk into a crowd and start complaining. I remember we have high school, Norristown High School on one side and the opposing team on the other side. Then we'd have a couple guys that go into the Norristown side and start criticizing Norristown. And then we'd have to break them up. So, freedom of speech. Let's all be happy. Stephen, thank you so much.
Okay, there is one.
Schmitz.
There is one thing I'd like to talk about that I didn't
Go
get a
ahead.
chance to, and if I had the opportunity, and I invited you already, on Tuesday, April 19th,
Yes.
at the college, we do it every 2 years, it's called Criminal Justice Career Day. And there'll be about 50 agencies, federal agencies, state and
Good.
local agencies.
The
plus-
ambassador of Norristown.
Well, you should be there for that. and I'll be inviting those 22 chiefs and some others for our opening ceremonies. The district attorney gives out the Valor Award to a police officer at the opening ceremony. And there'll be table displays and some vehicles and SWAT teams and things like that
The whole thing. Good.
at the college that morning. And it's open to the public, so you can come on out, and some of
All
your
right.
listeners might want to come out, or some of the viewers might want to come out and be
I
at the event.
don't know whether you know, my grandson is a policeman in West Norton, Anthony Morano. So
Oh,
he's
no, I didn't
following
know that.
around there.
No, that's good to
So
know.
here we go. Here's to you. Stephen, God bless you, what you're doing. Keep bobbing and weaving. Keep that left hand high, stick and move, and keep your trunks off the canvas. Allah salute
Thanks.
to your health. Thank you, ladies. This is most important that we the police department are first line of defense. Thank you, and may God bless each and every one. Adios.
Thank you.